All right, welcome to this video, guys. And today I'm lucky enough to talk to Marie. She is a multiple massage business owner in Kentucky. And today she's going to be sharing some information about her business and also some great tips and advice for other massage business owners who are looking to grow their business. So thanks for hopping on and doing this interview with me, Marie. If you want, you can tell us a bit about yourself and your businesses and how you got into the massage industry.
Sure thing. It's my pleasure to help other people out. This is, I think, the big purpose in life, to help others. Yeah, I'm Marie. I was originally born and raised in Germany. I came to the US in 2010. And I worked for a veteran nonprofit from 2010 through 2019. And while we were doing the nonprofit thing, we used massage therapy as a treatment for veterans with PTSD. And we saw amazing results, just not just the physical. I mean, all veterans have back pain, or neck pain or some other ailments that come from just wearing body armor and, being overseas. And but it also, the emotional factor was like huge. And then we had a $40,000 grant that we had gotten every year to pay for that. And then the foundation didn't have a good year, and so they decided to drop our grant. And that was kind of well, we can't give up on the program. Why don't I get licensed? I'm already on payroll. So I went to school, and then things happened. I had to leave my job at the nonprofit, and all of a sudden I became a full-time massage therapist right out of school. Wasn't necessarily planned that way, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I love my job. So yeah, that's what got me into it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I actually have seen a lot of studies about the not just physical benefits of massage, and it must have something to do with the physical, just the touch of another human being sometimes. Do you think?
Yeah. Especially like when you're talking like Vietnam veterans, the older generation, they came back from Vietnam, they weren't treated very well. And so for them, sometimes just that somebody is nice and kind and it makes them feel better is all they need, just to help them, they're now towards the end of their lives, and they appreciate just kind people at this point for the most part. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, especially as you get older, people get isolated too, and they probably don't have much connection.
Correct.
So, what was your process from going from just you worked as a massage therapist pretty late in your kind of life, out of necessity, and you saw the benefits with your nonprofit, and then how did you go from there to, I mean, when I met you, you had two massage businesses, and what was that process like for you, and how did you go about it?
So I think that what really prepared me was my nonprofit work. We had up to 16 staff members at one point. We raised, I don't even know the total number, 7, 8, 9 millions over the years. And so I had the business side done, but I was honestly worn out. Nonprofit world is nonstop, 24/7. You don't really break. Like, you wake up, you're on the computer, you go to bed, you kind of finish up your last email like before you go to sleep. And so after school, I was like, you know what? I think I just want to get a job. I just want to do massage. I just want to work. So I started out just working for a salon. And then 6 months later, COVID happened,
Yeah,
and we
good
were shut
timing.
down. So I was like, and we didn't know how long. They were talking maybe years. So we have to wear like full, like a surgeon, full like body armor and masks and gloves. And I said, that doesn't work for me. I will not go back, and I will not work with gloves. Physical touch is skin on skin, and if I put a plastic in between it, you're losing some of the value. And I didn't want to like come out dressed like a surgeon. It's just like that completely like ruins the experience. And then also daycares were shut down, so I didn't work for 3 months.
Hmm.
And then we
That's
came
some
back.
crazy times when we think back, right?
Oh, good God, yes. I'm now an American citizen, and so I was here with my, at that time, 2-year-old daughter, and her father decided that he didn't want to see us because of COVID, transmission of germs. And so all of a sudden I went from being a full-time working person to full-time mom, which I was not prepared, kind of. We living in a small house. We didn't have a lot of toys. And so thankfully there was a park. We went to the park every day. But emotionally it was really draining, and not knowing if do I ever go back doing massage. But when we got back, we were so busy. Like, I think I had 30 some clients a week, and I was literally killing myself. And, as a former business owner, there was today I plugged in the numbers into my laptop and I said, well, how much money would I make if I was on my own? And
Mhm.
it made about a $70,000 difference. And,
Yeah. Wow.
I barely made it, barely paid my bills. Even with tips, it was a struggle, and I didn't have health insurance. And so I was like, I have to raise my child. So I started doing some side work. I'd go to my friends' homes or like friends of friends. I was really cautious with that. Personally, I was a little bit scared of that,
Mhm.
especially there's a lot of crime in the city. And I was just looking for a space somewhere. And then through a friend of mine, I got a connection to actually a hemp store in Louisville. And she said, they have this room in the back. They used to do massage there, but the therapist decided to no longer do massage after COVID. And so they're just looking for somebody to rent the space. And I was like, well, I'm always willing to talk. I still work full time, so I see what I can do. And I met with them, and she was just really nice. And she said, I just want a massage therapist here. I love massage and I want it in my house. And I'll work with you. You can start part-time. You just pay me $10 a client or whatever we agreed upon. I don't know the exact numbers anymore. And she said, as you get busier, then we can come up with like a monthly, you know, amount that you're going to pay. And that's what we did. And so that was really easy for me to be like, well, I can't say no to that. But I was back to working 7 days a week,
Yeah.
4 at my job, 3 self-employed, and then it switched to 4 self-employed, 3 days at the job. And then one thing that came to the next. My babysitter fell through. My boss wasn't super happy about me canceling on a Saturday, which I had never done before, but I just had no one to watch my child.
Yeah.
And so that was the moment, I told her, I think you need somebody that can be here Saturdays. And to be honest with you, I need to be home with my child on Saturdays. And I think it's the best for both of us. If, I just take the plunge and I go out on my own. And I was terrified. You're just like, well, because I was still hourly there. Even if I didn't have clients, I would still make $20 an hour. It's better than nothing. And the first month I was just so nervous. What if I don't see enough clients?
Yeah.
I won't have any money to pay my bills. And my first month I made the most money I've ever made in my life. I had a lot of people follow me, even though it was the 30-minute drive from them to my new spot. And yeah, it just went on from there. It just that these days if I open time, I know I'll be booked. Like it's a nonstop flow of clients, and that's what made me hire some people and open a second location.
Well, congratulations. It's awesome.
Thank
Great
you.
story. So it kind of came about by necessity, but you just made it work. So, all right. So tell me about, I'm going to get into, tell me about some of your best marketing methods in a second, but let's just touch on the academy briefly, because I know you've been in the academy for at least 2 months, maybe.
Like
What?
something like that.
Around
Yeah,
two
one
months.
and a half, something like that. Yep.
You had some incredible results from your
Mhm.
first ads. And if you want, just share just briefly like how you came across the Massage Therapist Success Academy and what were your thoughts when you were looking at it, and what were your biggest concerns before joining?
Yeah, it was actually a Facebook ad that popped up on my news feed, and you get so much advertising these days, so I'm always skeptical. I was like, yeah, that sounds to be good, too good to be true. And my schedule is busy, but I've really been trying to get my staff to be more busy, and so I started reading the comments, and they were just so positive. Like I was like, you know what? I think it's $1. I don't even remember, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, what do I have to lose? I'm gonna give this a try, and if I don't like it, I'll just drop back out.
Yeah.
And I had used Facebook for a while, um, but there's things are always changing, and it had kind of slowed down where my advertising wasn't working as well anymore. And so I felt like I'm spending money and it's not getting the returns that I want to see from it. And so I got into the ads. I did the first 7 days. In 7 days, I went straight to work. I followed all the steps, and I got my pictures up, and um, we filled the first month of everyone up, like I think solid booked. So it was a very busy time. Like the messages just came in, and
Yeah.
my partner was like, "Oh my God, you're always on your phone." I was like, "I'm sorry, I know it's temporary. This is not gonna. Hopefully you'll be busy, but hopefully eventually I either find some help, or I'll figure something else out." But people would message, at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I was never worried about the people who message in the middle of the night, because usually they have like not the best intentions. Not always necessarily, but you know, they can wait till the morning. They're not gonna mind if I don't respond at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been extremely busy. We've gotten a good amount of clients that continue to come. Some come every other week, some come once a month. So
Yeah.
it's been paying off for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, because I remember you told me the reason when you came in, you were one of your goals was just to fill your staff up because you were so busy, but you having health issues and back problems, and you really needed to step away from doing all the work yourself, which is quite so common for massage therapists. That, I mean, we have a clinic with 10 therapists, and the biggest problem is some people just, they get injured so quickly, their body mechanics, which their body can't handle it. And the only way to get past that is to like hire a team, and obviously not overwork your team, but like if they can do part-time or whatever, you can build a business and everyone wins. So that's a good way. It's a good reason. Like I always say to people, like building a team is a way for longevity in the industry.
For sure. I remember when I was in school, our teacher told us the average massage therapist lasts about 7 years. And at that moment, it was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I'm like, well, no, I'm going to have to do this for 30 some years. And so I was always very cautious with my body mechanics, but I had been in 7 car accidents over my lifetime.
Whoa.
I ride horses and I run. And so there's a lot of, you know, just from my hobbies, I put a lot of, and I lift weights. I put a lot of pressure on my lower back. And I finally got to the point where my back was like, you know what, you've done too much. Something's got to give. And yeah, the constant pain really got to me. And I was also never home for my kid. Other people were raising my child. And I was like, I can't continue on this path. And I also don't want to like draw back on finances again and just, you know, work for half. But then when I struggle again financially, I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now having a team has been awesome. Of course, it adds more work.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes you're like, I'm going to hire these people and it's just going to go, but that's not how it goes. But I know once they're busy, it's going to be great.
Having more freedom is good, but it does just kind of switch your work from, like, it's not like you'd stop working. You actually work more, but you're just doing less massages. You have to
more home. That's the thing. I can make my daughter something to eat, or you know, do a bit of schoolwork with her in between, and so that means a lot to me.
More flexibility, yeah. You get to, now you just have to fill your team up, train them, do the marketing and advertising, all the back end work. So yeah, you don't work less unless you have a manager running your business, which is possible, but yeah, you just do different work. And okay, so yeah, you were super busy. You filled up your team with one ad. You filled them out, booked them out for a month. And you said before you joined, you were doing social media ads. Were you just boosting posts and they just weren't working as well?
For the most part, we had this new client special, you know, 20% off or $20 off the first session. But I would just point it towards the website, and I think we just lost a lot of traffic. Which sometimes I don't mind. I will probably eventually every so often throw one of those in, because that way I still can get some traction without me having to do all the back end stuff. So
yeah,
if it just needs something small on the side, that's a good ad to run where I'm not like hands-on 24/7. But definitely if I want to be really busy and actually collect the leads, which, you know, that's what you're spending your money on. You build, and I think because I just started, I see the long-term results from that, because I have their phone number and their email, and they're now part of my client list. So every time I send an email, they get a reminder, they get a reminder, they get a reminder. And some of them may never come, some of them can maybe come once or twice, and some of them will turn into long-term clients. But that's the way how you build it, you know.
Yeah, I see that as one of the massive mistakes business owners make in general, not just massage therapists, but they run ads and they just run an ad with their phone number, or they just direct it to their website. And it's just so inefficient. Like the cost per lead, cost per sign up booking is so expensive. Like with these ads, like I don't know what you paid, but we pay like $2 to $3 to get someone who's interested in a massage, and $4 for a booking. It's on on a $65 massage with that special, that's with a special offer price. It's like, it's such a big return on investment. Whereas like how much did you pay per lead for your ads typically with the
It
academy?
was somewhere between $2 and $4, I think. There, my two locations, one is in the city, it's a little bit more expensive. The other one, it's just been, I mean,
Yeah.
I put the ad up and the inbox started pinging like
Yeah.
every couple of seconds.
And when you were trying out your other ads where you would just send them to your website, what would you pay per booking that way?
You know, it's, I honestly never looked into that because it kept us busy, but I think long term, I would spend about probably $100 per month per location, but we were not fully booked. So I never looked at the per booking numbers on that actually, but I would imagine it's more, especially since, you know, now I have all these more additional contacts, even though they may not all have booked, you know, they may still book in the future.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the people who just click on your website, the chances that they actually bookmark your website are pretty slim.
Even if they bookmark it, I read a statistic: if someone leaves your website, like chance of them coming back is like 1 in 100. Even
Yeah.
if you bookmark it, I go through my bookmarks when I used to bookmark websites, and like I haven't visited those sites in years.
I have way too many bookmarks.
So okay, so you did manage to grow your business without a ton of ads. Tell me your 3 best strategies that you use. You did Facebook ads where you just send traffic to your website, but what would you say are your other 2 biggest or most successful
Yeah, I
advertising
think
marketing?
especially for us massage therapists, obviously word of mouth is one of the best advertising you can get. I was lucky enough that I got a couple of clients that went to one of those boot camp type of gyms, and they're already like very clicky. And so if one of them told them this is the best massage you'll ever get, I would have half the gym come to me. Um,
Nice.
that was one thing, and then my other big thing, I network. You know, I have a couple chiropractors that I refer back and forth. I have a couple of networking meetings
Yeah.
that I go to. One is a
BNI?
women only group.
Oh, women.
I don't do BNI.
Yep.
I don't know. It's so big, like it's every week, and it's so expensive.
Yeah. I did it for a
I,
while. It just
yeah,
until I
Anyway,
discovered Facebook ads, I did
yeah,
BNI.
yeah, yeah. I think networking has its place and it's good, especially in my more local town. Um, they're very like they want to go in their own hometown to for everything. So if you find the right people, you will get a lot of business out of that.
Yeah.
And it's almost free. I mean, you pay, you know, $100, $200 a year or something like that. Chamber of Commerce has been a good asset for me. So those were kind of like my secrets. In the beginning, I literally had no money for marketing. I would just do word of mouth and then my chambers. And it kept me busy enough, you know, and then like I said, if you do good work, that's I think where it starts. You have to,
Yeah.
I always said, I always thought about every client in the same way. This person may have saved up all year to come in once a year to relax for an hour. And if I'm now in this mindset of, I don't want to be here, I'm not giving it all, like, you know, they're going to be disappointed because they waited for this for so long and probably saved every penny.
Yeah.
And so I always try to do my very best, even with my pain and my aches and whatever I went through. I always, to this day, I still, every session, I treat the client with the utmost respect. And I think that's what really has been a big thing for my business.
That's such a good mindset. I wish more massage therapists had that mindset. When I was young, just got into business. One of my first business coaches said, it always stuck with me. It was, it's never crowded on the extra mile. And it's like, if you're in business, you just have to go above and beyond for the service and what you give them, and you're always going to be successful. You know, you
Yeah.
combine that attitude that you have just there that you mentioned, you combine that with advertising, and like you're never going to lose, you
Yeah.
know. It's like yeah, it's such a great mindset.
Yeah. You know, it's all about treating people well. And you know, I think the world is a harsh enough place these days, and especially in the field of massage therapy, people do come to you, and I mean, we're almost therapists. We're not therapists, but we kind of are. Like people will tell you, everything from their personal life sometimes. And, and I will always tell them, like, I'm not a therapist, but I'm really sorry, you're dealing with this. And if I do have some advice, and I don't mind sharing that. And, people just come to us for peace and
Yeah.
relaxation and just de-stress. I think we're all stressed out in this world these days. Inflation is getting us, everything's
Yeah.
getting more expensive. Traffic, I sometimes sit an hour one way in traffic just to get to work.
Yeah.
We all have enough stress. And so I think it's really important for us massage therapists to provide people with this place of peace.
100%. It's like, it's not just an hour that people commit. It's not just the $80 or the hour. It's the drive there too. It's what are they giving up in time and money
Right.
to have this massage? They could be with their kids. They could be
Yeah.
at work. They could be spending money on their family. But they're giving that money and time to you. So it's your duty to
Mhm.
give them everything you've got, and not to go half-assed, or to not complain or talk too much in the massage, and to make it all about them. And that's something that we drill into our team as well. So it's no wonder you're successful. Now I hear that attitude. And so I was going to ask, what have been your three biggest challenges to get to this point? Obviously COVID,
Um,
one of them, but that
yeah,
actually turned out into a good thing for you.
I think so. Definitely COVID was a challenge, but obviously my physical limitations that I have been probably the biggest challenge. Um, and being a single mom, before my current partner came into my life, it was very stressful. It was like a second job, just trying to find babysitters so I could work late till 7 o'clock, or Saturdays and Sundays, and because that's when people are available. I knew I was starting out, that's when I'm gonna have to work. And maybe the guilt with my daughter, that I felt like I wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily a mom. I was a friend. I took care of her, I made sure she was fed, but it was literally other people raising her. I think those were my three biggest challenges that were extremely difficult. And money. I think when you start out on your own and you go against, the big chains that have millions of dollars of marketing money, and you have like nothing,
Yeah.
it can be daunting sometimes when you're just like, meh, I know they're so busy, and here's a week where I have like 8 clients.
Yeah.
And you just don't have. I didn't start with an investment or anything like that. I just pretty
Yeah.
much built it from scratch with whatever I had, which wasn't a whole lot in the beginning. So, or probably still not a whole lot right now, but
Yeah.
it's not about the money for me. I mean, it'd be nice to be a little bit more easy and be able to maybe travel once a year or something like that. But I know that'll come with time. And I think that's what, if I were to give advice to other massage therapists who are maybe in the beginning stages, like, don't give up. Like, you have to keep going. It's gonna be brutal for the first, and everyone that owns a business has told me the same thing. First 3 to 5 years, they aren't gonna be a whole lot of fun. I mean, you will be working so much, and maybe after 5 years, you'll reap some, good fruits from that work.
Yeah. I feel that. We actually had to sell our, because when we started our first business, which was a gym, um, I'd only been a personal trainer for 6 months at the time, and we had to sell our house to keep it going.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Like that was how tight things were. But we
I
believed we could see like a path to success,
yeah,
right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it.
right.
Um,
That's exactly, to this day, I pay my staff makes double the amount per hour what I'm paying myself,
yeah,
because everything else I put, like, all my tips, they go straight back into the business. Like, I don't,
yeah,
every so often, I need an extra gift, maybe I pull a little bit out, but for the most part, I reinvest everything into a nicer room, some more decorations, or, another staff member, marketing. Like, you can always spend more money. And my first spot I worked at, we had only like 8 pairs of sheets. And so they started eventually, they were washed so many times, they had like holes in them. And I always felt I was so uncomfortable. Like, if my stuff breaks, it goes straight into the trash. Actually, I have a funny story for you. Yesterday, not me, but one of my girls was working, she was working in the office, and she called me, and she only thankfully had one client yesterday, because she said, well, the lady, and we have a plastic sheet between our table warmer and our sheet, and the sheets. There's a plastic sheet in between. She said, well, she peed.
oh,
Um, can we get this out of the table warmer, because it's like a fleece pad? And I said, "Oh, it should be fine. I mean, you have a plastic sheet on top, right? It should be fine." She's like, no, it was like a lot. Like it
Oh,
soaked all the way through.
I-
And I said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Just throw it in the trash. You know, I will not even try and clean that up. So we just ordered a new one. So
I've never heard of that happening before.
me personally has never happened before. I didn't even know what to say because I've been doing this so long. She's one of my newest. She just started in July. She's fresh pretty much still. And she's like, is this normal? I'm like, I don't think so. I've
Yeah.
never had this happen, but you know, you never know. It's never a boring day. So you never know what's gonna happen.
I don't know what to say either right now, so I'm going to ask you a different question. What do you feel sets your business apart from others in your area? Because you said you have those big massage chains in your area. I know you said one is that attitude you have towards how you treat your team, but from a tactical or technical point of view, what are some of those things that you do to set yourself apart and to give the best service?
I think my main thing is that I really try to take the best care that I can of my staff because, you know, if they're struggling, they don't know they're going to pay their bills, um, they're not going to be fully there. And so I make sure I love my clients, but my staff is just as important, if not more important. So I make sure they have what I can afford. I make sure they have enough money to pay their bills and I treat them like family. And I think everyone that works for me has, like, a lot of them interviewed for some of the bigger chains. And after they'd spoken with me, they said, you know, I know it's a little bit more risky. You're not the big chain, and we may not be fully booked right off the bat, you know, but you seem like a good person. You really care and you treat us with respect. And I think that's what it comes down to, boils down to again. It's just, you know, you treat your clients and your staff as family members. I mean, of course, I'm still their boss, and I told them that. It's like, you know, I'll be your best friend, and you will not get in trouble with me unless there's two things. You're not on time, which means I expect you to be at least 15 minutes early before your first client. Or your client, like you say, like really inappropriate things to your, you know, or you make the client unhappy, which to a degree, clients, you know, there's some clients that you cannot make happy. That I'm not talking about that, but you know, you don't want to like have say a gay person on the table and now you start preaching about how you can't be gay, like stuff like that is what I'm referring to. uh,
Politics and religion and that stuff
yeah,
is like off
don't
the table.
don't yeah, don't even talk about that. And if the client brings something up, you'll always be on their side. Like whatever they say is, you know, you agree to that because it's their hour, they're paying you. It's not about your personal opinion or your political standpoint or you know whatever it is. So I think that's probably the main reason why I'm different from a lot of the chains. I also don't overwork my staff. I started my girl that came straight out of school. I only started her 1 day a week, and I said it's not that I don't think I can get you more clients. It's like I don't want you starting too strong, and then you really hurting or starting with arthritis right off the bat, or you know you're damaging your joints, or you know all of that. We want to build you up to the point where it's more fluent, so you're not never ever get to the spot where everything just kills you, and then you may not even want to continue on. And I also tell them that I'm absolutely 100% okay with boundaries and no's, and so I will always ask, like, I'm going on vacation over Thanksgiving. And so I'm like, does anyone want to add another day? Because I'm not in office, so the room is available. And so some of them take it, some of them leave it. And I always say, if I ask for too much, you just tell me because I feel more comfortable if I ask you and you tell me no, over me asking you to say yes, but in the back of your head, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And so we have very clear, open communication. I try to treat them every so often. We'll go like do dinner or, you know, we do a little bit of training and I bring some snacks and some food and just hang out. Just also because we all don't even see each other a whole lot, you know, it gets my staff to just spend some time with each other.
Yeah, that
And I
is a
also,
challenge. Yeah.
yes, allow
It is a
everyone to get
challenge.
one free massage from my business. So they can book with me or with anyone from once a month, they get at least a free massage. A, to take care of themselves because we all have fallen into the trap of I'll do it next week. I don't have the money or whatever. I don't want money to be an issue. So they can come and get free work once a month. I know that's probably not even enough for most people, but at least it's something.
It's a
Um,
great idea. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is what I've been doing since day one, since I started hiring people.
Yeah. That's awesome. All those things. That is funny you mentioned that your team don't get to see each other because that's one challenge that we've had. When we had the gym, which is where we started our massage business, we used to have a team meeting every week. But with the massage clinic, it was always a lot harder because everyone works different days, and we just didn't have a time. But yeah, now we take the team to, we've just started again, take him to a cafe or something, or down the beach once a week before work. But yeah, all those things line up perfectly with the same things that we do. My wife is the person closest to the team at the moment, and she is great with the team, exactly like what you said. She's great friends with them, but there's rules. And one lady came over to us from a franchise, and she's literally told her friends how much she's loving her new job, that like they all want to work for us. And yeah, it was just the same thing. You just treat your team better than everyone else. She gets paid more and she gets treated better.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, like, your business is really just people, right? And so if you just have the best people, who you get from treating better than your other places, if you have the best people, that's like a large portion of your success, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's one of the hardest things, and I know you've mentioned this as well, taking that transition from working for yourself. And you might be a great therapist. I know you said you were really booked out all the time, and your body was your body was telling you it was too much. And it's getting good enough people that you can actually keep clients once you hand them off to your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, having a great team is so critical, but so hard to do when you are competing with those bigger competitors.
Yeah.
So that is tough. But
Yeah,
you're doing a
I
great
offered
job.
them pretty much double of what the chains pay, what I
Wow.
pay. No, I can't guarantee, they only get paid if they're working. I don't have that big of a savings to be able to pay that for hours they're not working. But that also means if they have an hour break, there's a small park nearby, just go have a walk, be outside, do something, or go grocery shopping, or do whatever you need to. This is your
Yeah.
time. You need to have a phone call, like you're welcome to do whatever you need to in that time. Um, and so yeah, I think they're making the same, if not more money, and they're not getting burned out by I heard this one guy, he had interviewed with me. He works at one of the bigger chains. He has 40 clients a week. He
Yeah.
works
Wow.
8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever. He has four 60-minute, another four, and that 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I
Wow.
would probably die emotionally, physically. I don't
Yeah.
think I could do it. So,
What do you usually cap your team at? What would you say is like a good cap for a week for one
um,
person?
I think if you want to work really hard and you're young and you're fresh, up to 20 is easy, is doable. I prefer 15 for myself, 12 to 15. For me seems like a good now. But when I was doing 30 a week at my old job, that was too much for me. Like I know I was always just emotionally tired. You come home and you're
Yeah.
just down, you just go to bed pretty much. And I want my people again to have a life outside of work. And you can only do that if you have anything left in you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't tell anyone if they need more money and they want to do 25 or 30, as long as the clients are there, I have no problem with that. But I would definitely watch that. And if I see somebody's, just getting into the rut and just making the money, I would probably have a conversation. I haven't gotten there yet, but I would probably have a conversation. You should probably, at least slow down a little bit, take a day or two off, or just, get yourself back to neutral. So,
Yeah, I agree. Like we cap our team at 25 if they can do full time, but if they, like, my personal opinion is most therapists would be probably best suited doing it part time, say 15 sessions
mhm.
a week, from what I've seen, because there have been so many people, and they think they can do 25 and they can't. So I've kind of suggested to some to do it part time, but yeah, because that way you have longevity as well.
Yeah, and sometimes part-time you still make more money, especially if you include tips and if you do good work. Like one of my guys told me today, he's like he's worked at the most fanciest spas in town, and he says I've never gotten a $30 or $40 tips, and with your business, I get it all the time.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm really surprised. And he just started like last month. He was brand new, and he's like, I've never experienced that. He's been a therapist since 2009.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the environment I built where people really get good service and good care.
Right. All right, Marie. Well, I had a couple of other questions. You've answered a lot of them, but I will ask a couple to wrap it up. And like I was going to ask, what's helped you find great employees and retain them? You've answered that. and then the work-life balance one. But where do you see your business in 2 years, 5 years from now?
Mhm. I'd love to have both my locations, maybe in my own building. I feel like always on edge because, you're renting from somebody, you never know. They could change their mind tomorrow and be like either shut their doors or decide they want to do something else. And it has actually happened to me once that I just got a notice you have to be out in 4 weeks. And if you have staff, that's getting really extremely stressful. So I would love to be able to start to buy my own buildings. I would like to also explore other options, as in like, having maybe an esthetician on staff,
Yeah,
and into maybe red light therapy or some other things that we can do.
we do
Uh,
that. We
yeah,
have a combined clinic,
yeah,
and it's great for referring across.
right,
And the
exactly.
beauty and skin treatments are actually more profitable.
Yeah,
Plus, the
yeah, especially
therapist can. Yeah, what's
red
that?
light therapy seems to be an awesome fit because it can help with the pain and inflammation and all
Yeah,
that, but it's also an awesome tool. And I didn't even know that when I first started looking into it, but I had a phone call with somebody that sells the devices, and he said, he used to be a chiropractor. He no longer practices. He just does red light therapy.
yeah. Wow.
He says we have been really focused on weight loss because it really targets fat cells and it just literally burns them off without people having to exercise, which sounds just like dream come true. But it only works obviously if you eat healthy. But if you eat healthy, you work out a little bit, and you use that machine, it can literally form your body. I've lost a substantial amount of weight myself, and
Yeah,
um, it can target some of the areas that are just, besides surgery, literally impossible to treat. And just talking about that, it seems to be a, a, a way where you can help people with so many things. Like,
we have a LED machine that we use.
mhm, yeah, I can't wait. They're not cheap, so I'm still
Yeah,
trying to get that straightened out. But I would love to add that in. So that would be my main goal over the next 2 or so years to get that going. Have maybe one or two of those, and have it at 3 or 4 staff members per location.
yeah,
That would be my dream come true. Because if you have a couple and one leaves, at least you're not like, oh my gosh, stressing out, and have some time to find a replacement for that. So that
yeah.
would be the main vision, the main goal. And maybe eventually, like you mentioned, a manager, it would be nice eventually to have some help with some of the admin stuff. But that's the nice thing with the red light therapy. You can hire somebody to, work with some of the machines, and they can help you with some answering phone calls and leads and this and that.
100%. Yeah, I highly recommend to therapists, even if they don't do like a whole different thing with estheticians or beauty therapists, but just focus on the high value services that you can offer. And that depends if you are more sports massage focused and deep tissue, there are other extra trainings that you can do, extra qualifications, and you start to have those high price services. You can either work less and earn the same amount, or you can work the same and earn more. But like always be studying with your skills, and if you have a team, I highly recommend bringing on board complementary
Services.
not therapists, but therapists and team members. And that's just such a big thing. It's an easy cross referral thing, and it serves your customer better too. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's helped us a lot. And just before we go, any other advice or anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to convey, I guess, to other therapists about growing their business or anything else that
Mhm.
would help them?
Yeah, I just want to say, just, don't ever give up. I think we all have those days where just happened to me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, where I was just burned out. And it's just one of those moments where you just fall in a bed and it's like, I'm done. I'm gonna find a job. I'm not doing this anymore, right? And I think we all go through that, and I don't think it's ever talked about. Nobody ever talks about that, but I think it happens to all of us. And of course, you wake up the next morning and you laugh about yourself, and you're like, oh, I hope, and that would be my hope. If you're in that moment where you feel like it's not going anywhere, don't give up. Maybe your strategy isn't working, try something else, or like join like the your program, and take some advice. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've seen. Sometimes people think that they know it all, or they want to do it their way, but sometimes you can skip ahead a lot of steps if you just combine your knowledge with other people and just help each other out. And, um, like we've talked about before, there's really not that whole, I mean, there's a lot of massage therapists out there, but there's a lot of people needing massage, and I think it's just this up and coming thing, and people really understanding more of the need of that. So I think people should forget this mindset of there's not enough. There's more than enough clients for everyone out there.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about most massage therapists don't last like super long. So there will be a constant flow of people that are needing work done. And
Yeah.
you just have to find your ways. That's why I love this program so much, because it teaches me things that I've done differently in the past that your way are a lot easier. And so it's awesome. Like I learned something new, and I take that and I include that in my business plan, and we're just rocking and rolling from there. And I plan on doing a lot of other things in the future just to step ahead a little bit faster, maybe instead of me having to try to figure it out all by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been extremely helpful to me.
Great. And before we go, I'll just touch on one thing because you brought it up. So if a lot of people also like, because we were talking about therapist longevity and staying in the industry, not being overworked, price, the price that you charge is typically a function of supply versus demand, right? So when you don't have enough clients, you are scared to charge much, right? But if you have too many clients and you're always booked out, that's when you can put your price up, and keep putting your price up. You have to increase. You have to be great at what you do, though. But if you have great marketing, like you said, there's always so many people out there who would love to come for a massage, but they don't get an ad for it. They don't get reminded about it, right? So if you get good at marketing, you can get more people in, you can grow the whole industry, you can help more people, and then you can put your prices up over
Yep,
time more easily, and then you can stay in the industry longer.
exactly.
That's what some people don't realize as well. We're not competing against other massage therapists as much always as everything else that's competing for people's money. So if you look at, I read somewhere like before massage envy came into the industry, a lot of people don't like them, but the whole industry just grew massively because of their effect, because they were so successful in getting people into more massage. So yeah, if you don't think there's enough for you, there's always enough clients for you if you can market to them and get them in.
Yeah.
But thanks, Maria. I really appreciate you hopping on this call, and congratulations on your success so far. And I know with the attitude you have, you'll continue to it could continue on that trajectory.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, and hopefully somebody will get something out of this. And um, we need more good people out there that, do good work.
Thank you.